It's been a busy few days for the Philadelphia Eagles, but one of their headline moves has been replacing Timmy Jernigan, or so it seems. 29-year-old Malik Jackson penciled a 3-year, $30 million contract on Monday after stints with both the Jaguars and the Broncos. But what exactly will Jackson bring to the table, and how does this transform the Eagles' offensive line moving forward? My name is Liam Jenkins, and this is an episode of Eagles Film Room. Before we get started though guys, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button if you're new around here. We want you to join part of what's going to be the biggest Philadelphia sports community on YouTube. So make sure you're hitting subscribe, hit that like button as well if you enjoy this kind of content. And don't forget that if you want your daily fix of Philadelphia sports content, then you can find stuff from myself and all of our writers at phillysportsnetwork.com 24/7. So what does Malik Jackson look like as a player? Well, the 6'5", 290-pound lineman was first drafted by the Denver Broncos in 2012 and would go on to play a huge cog in their illustrious Super Bowl run. His 5.5 sack season in 2015 earned him a long-term extension with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he hit the ground running, garnering 6.5 sacks in 2016 and earning his first Pro Bowl nod 1 year later. But many regard his 3.5 sack season in 2018 somewhat of a step backward, and that's exactly what this film room is looking to disprove. One of the first things that jump out on tape with Malik Jackson is his ability to absorb double teams, and this is something you see frequently throughout his career, and it's become somewhat a staple of his play, and that's exactly why the Eagles are going to love it. He ended his first season with a career high in sacks when he arrived at the Jaguars, but he was also a big reason why rookie defensive end Yannick Ngakoue broke the Jags' then rookie sack record with 8. 1 year later, when he put up his best season yet again and made the Pro Bowl, Calais Campbell had 14 sacks and Yannick Ngakoue had 12.5. That's because of situations like this, where Jackson is taking off double teams, whether that's by design on stunts and twists, or whether that's simply because he demands that much attention. He's opening up the rushing lanes for one-on-one matchups, favourable matchups for his teammates. This is something the Eagles lost when Timmy Jernigan went down with injury, and as we all know, it was Fletcher Cox having to carry the load of the entire interior position. But just look at that screenshot for a second. He's driving the guard back into the tackle to open up that lane for Fowler. It's a great play by Malik Jackson. And if we take a look at this next play, just watch the attention. Now this is a design stunt, but watch what happens as the defensive end comes crashing in. What we're going to see is a total collapse there by the two interior players, and immediately the tackle has to come back out and cover Malik Jackson. So instead of worrying about what's going on to the left hand side, which is a total train wreck when we get to this screenshot in a second, at this point Malik Jackson is being double teamed. It's going to get crashed here. Jackson detects that, tries to get outside, so great awareness by the defensive tackle, but it's that pressure from the stunt that causes the left-hand side of the defensive line to absolutely wreak havoc. Here's another example against the Houston Texans. Now, this is getting much more into the technicalities of his play. The hand placement especially is absolutely elite. Now, we're going to slow this down. It happens a bit quickly. Jackson off the line looks like a wide receiver trying to get out of press, then gets his arm up and under. He's trying to drive two bodies, and at this point, look at how much attention there is. The left hand side of the line has crumbled. You've got two pass rushers free and the pass incomplete, all because Malik Jackson on the other side is able to hold his own. But what about those one-on-one matchups where he's expected to win, where he has the upper hand? Hand being the key word, because it's all about his technical ability. His pass rushing move array is like an arsenal of weapons just waiting to be unloaded by a defensive coordinator. Whether it swims, whether it stabs, whether it's just the sheer violence of throwing his weight around, the man has an absolute array of moves. He just wants to get open. Even here, he spins into a double team, falls over, gets straight back up and hustles to the quarterback. The motor never stops. If one move doesn't work, he's got a counter. And I do think that's what the Eagles were missing last year, because outside of Michael Bennett when he played inside and Fletcher Cox, there was no real threat of a violent pass rusher that could just cause this much disruption. He's able to part the Red Sea on this play with sheer power. He's explosive because he's got lateral speed, and we see a nice example of that here as he almost breaks a double team through to a sack. Look at that, that is just raw power. But one of my favourite plays that highlights this skill set is against the New York Giants, wrapping up Saquon Barkley. Just watch how again he bullies his way through a double team. Look at that screenshot. He's got both arms almost pushing away like it's some some sort of gym machine and then strides into the backfield to bring down Saquon Barkley. This is a brutal pass rusher. He's not someone that's going to mess around, that will get complacent if one move doesn't work. He will keep fighting and pushing until there is nothing left. Again, in terms of lateral speed, look where he starts on the right-hand side of this play and look where he ends up. That's lateral. He's almost sprinting, outside arm to swipe down the interior lineman and then get to the quarterback while bending inwards. That is an extremely impressive play. Against the Dolphins, he was an absolute menace. We'll see another example of that right here. Again, just using that power to get through, cause a bit of disruption and enough pressure to generate an incomplete pass. Here's some more pressure from that game against the New York Giants. Again, look at the odd alignment here for the New York Giants. They move the tight end down to the outside, and watch how Malik Jackson reads this, then swipes underneath as almost like he's a defensive end. That shouldn't be a man at 6'5", 290 moving that quickly. He's able to consistently penetrate, get into the backfield when left alone, and even there, while he's able to get the cherry on the cake, what he is able to do, if you just watch, is just bully all of his weight on a double team, push the offensive lineman underneath, and force the pile into Eli Manning. Now, I've mentioned the term hand usage several times in this video, but what does that look like in action, maybe even outside of pass rushing? Here's a great bit of run defense, an underrated aspect of his game. Look at that, he makes first contact, constantly resets his hands, keeps his inside arm on the lineman, uses his outside line to drive his way over the top and into the running back. That's an astounding play to drive laterally instead of just pushing off with the inside arm to drive over the top. Here though, this is what stands out. He notices Josh Allen's going to scramble, spins off, comes back and makes a play. That's absolutely phenomenal awareness to just peek into the backfield, realise the threat of a rushing quarterback who at the time maybe didn't have that reputation, and then get underneath and make a big play. Here's another one in what was a real breakout game in week 1 against the New York Giants. Just look at the ability to carve separation with his hands. He is like a butcher at work, just carving up some meat. Constant motion. There's always something going on. They're never stagnant, and he keeps them very compact. Here again against the Houston Texans. Just watch this. This is sheer strength and power. I can't get over that play at full speed. Let's reel it back, slow it down, and watch how he absolutely decimates number 73. Inside arm has contact, drives him to the other side of his body to carve open a lane to get to DeSean Watson. No need for the outside arm. That stays by his side ready for a counter. It's the inside arm, that first stab, that's able to generate all the pressure. And if we're talking about pressure, let's see another aspect of his game here. On this play, Josh Allen is going to escape due to pressure, but look at the man chasing him down. It's a 6'5", 290-pound behemoth. His ability to not just penetrate to get into the backfield, but we mentioned that lateral speed earlier, it carries over into every facet of his game. He's just a monster, and the speed he plays at is unrelenting. This is a speed sack here. We can see, look at him drive past it. Another eclectic array of pass rush moves. Sees him bounce off one lineman, then off the other, and into the path of DeSean Watson. A great play by a dominant athlete nonetheless. But what about run defense? What about screen passes? Well, look at where the defensive tackle starts and look at where he ends. He's charging to the other hash mark and then making a tackle. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, run defense isn't his biggest asset. It's not going to be something why the Eagles signed him for. He's not going to replace Timmy Jernigan on that front. But his ability to sustain leverage and generate tackles for a loss by penetrating the backfield like we see here, driving the offensive lineman into the path of the running back, that's why the Eagles want him on board. He's not someone that is going to overly commit to the run. He can sometimes get a little bit lost as to where the running back or the ball is after going down one path. But again, that's not why the Eagles have brought him on. This is a defensive tackle that is 1, going to take double teams away from Fletcher Cox, that is 2, going to generate an extortionate amount of pressure at lightning speed, and 3, bring a whole new element to that defensive line. We know Jim Schwartz loves his NASCAR packages with all the defensive ends out. I would argue that as someone that has played a 5 tech as opposed to a 3 tech, because Brown wasn't really as confident playing the 5, he's got the versatility to play both. He's got the speed to handle outside tackles, the power to dominate inside, and a skill set which under Jim Schwartz is going to be absolutely terrifying for any offensive line he comes up against. But what do you think of the video, guys? Let me know what your opinions are on Malik Jackson, and be sure to leave a like and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for all the support. We'll have a DeSean Jackson video coming up for you very shortly as well. But from myself, Liam Jenkins, you can follow me on Twitter at LiamJenkins21. I'll see you soon.